Shabbat Shalom, everybody. My name is Jason.
I'm Caden. I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah channel, and we thank you guys very, very much for being a part of our family. We are the people who believe that the first 5 books of Scriptures, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, are the rule set for our lives. They are the guideposts for our world. They are the greatest things that we have ever been given, and we are very, very happy with them. And if you are a family that immerses your family in Torah, in Scriptures, it builds a very, very strong family. Now, we have talked to a tremendous amount of people throughout this world, throughout these times, and there's a lot of bitterment inside of families to where we have a lot of mixed religion inside of families, and a lot of us will end up in a marriage or in a relationship that is not equally yoked, especially those of us who come into Torah. And it is when we come into Torah, a lot of times it's very, very hard to bring our family members into Torah with us. And I talked to a brother this morning, and he was describing in an email that it's really, really tough. He's come out of a place and he's figured out Torah, and now he has a Catholic wife, and he's trying to figure out how to make it happen. And he was looking for some advice on that. And I think the best advice that I can give anybody in a family environment is that every single day, as a family, everybody sits down and we begin at the front of the book on page 1. And when we read page 1 and we go slowly and we read it with our family and we discuss it with our family, and it's something that we write on our heart, mind, and soul, and something that we indoctrinate our entire family with, I think eventually people will come around. The question all comes down to, will you love your Creator with all of your heart, with all of your mind, with all of your strength, and with all of your soul? If the answer is yes, then you would want, without a shadow of a doubt, to be a Torah keeper. You would want to be a law keeper, somebody who does what our Creator has asked us to do and does it. So good morning to everybody out there. Much love to all of you. Cade, will you please open us in prayer?
Praise Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for blessing us. Thank you for being good to us. We thank you for giving us this Shabbat. We thank you for bringing us together as a united family, seeking your Torah, seeking your ways. And we ask that you see it upon us, and that you put the Ruach upon us to understand your words, understand your writings, that we are able to understand, and that we're able to see what the world does not see with your Torah. Thank you for all in Yahshua's name. Amen.
Okay, all right. And so here we are. Jade, will you please Shema the people?
Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah is one, and you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might. And these words I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children. You shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and you shall express between your eyes. And then you shall write them on the doorposts on your house and on your gates.
Okay, so here we are with a Shema, and before we get to go too far into this, I would like to bring forth a little bit of what we're doing here in Boss Clan, and really, we accidentally fell into a ministry that a year or so ago we had no idea that we would even be here. But the ministry has been something that's very interesting. It is something that is very, I guess, hard to do. And we are Yah Scriptures. And Yah Scriptures is what I believe is the greatest English translation of Scriptures that is even out there. And we have been shipping these Yah Scriptures into our brothers and sisters in chains. And specifically, as of late, over the last couple of weeks or so, we have gone into the Texas death row community for the guys and the gals. And we have been shipping these brothers and sisters that have literally an expiration date on their lives, most of them. We've been shipping them Scriptures. And I will tell you, there is a job and there is a road for all of you guys out there. If any one of you guys want to help us with this ministry, we're always looking for people that are willing to take on a couple of brothers or a couple of sisters and be faithful to them and write to them as they write you and minister to them as you will do. And if anybody's interested in that at any part, please send me an email to jboss008@gmail.com. And you know what we're finding, and it is something quite amazing, because we've been writing the brothers and sisters in chains for over a year now. The regular brothers and sisters in chains, the brothers and sisters in chains who don't have a death sentence on their name. And so we've gotten very familiar with how people act, how people incarcerated act, how they talk, how they do things. And when I stepped over into the death row community, it was very much a different type of conversation. It's very much a different way of life. It's very much a different way of thinking. And some of these brothers I've met, one brother has been on death row for 39 years, my friends, 39 years. And if you're looking for something that is unbiblical, that is un-Torah-like, it is the incarceration that we have our brothers and sisters into, especially in the United States of America. And for all of us who are in Torah, we all understand that there is a way and a guideline, and you would not keep men and women on death row for 4 decades just to get them an execution date, right? When we have crime and evil that needs to be uprooted outside of our society, then we would pick up the rocks and we would take it outside the city gates. And that is how our Creator has this. But because we are doing things un-Torah-like and we're incarcerating these guys for forever, when I started writing into these guys, it was actually a breath of fresh air. And I've never heard as much wisdom as I've heard from the guys coming out of death. in a various way. And let me tell you about one particular guy. It took about 7 or 8 days before I got something that I never ever thought I'd get. Because when I start writing these guys, some of them don't want to talk about religion at all. Some of them absolutely hate religion. And you know what? They're on the same page as I am. And right out, I'm like, you know what, brothers, you guys are wide awake. And there's a reason why people hate religion. Religion goes contrary to the scriptures. You will not show me, you will not be able to find one single religion out of 41,000 plus that actually keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator and have the faith of Messiah Yahushua. And so, as I'm talking to this brother, it only took a couple of emails in, and we got him a scriptures in. Basically, we got him a scriptures. This is all inside of, I think, about 10 days. So we got him a scriptures, and he got his scriptures at the beginning of the week, and he started writing back, and he goes, you know what? I had no idea there was a way forward like this. I had no idea that there was a future that we could all have based upon the laws, statutes, and commandments. And so I got this one single brother who's been on death row for quite a long time, who hates religion, and all of a sudden he's in death row reading scriptures. He's talking to Elohim Most High. He has the way forward, and all of a sudden his life is completely changed. He's sitting there literally on death row, awaiting an execution time and date, and now we have these brothers and sisters in there reading scriptures. Now, one thing that I noticed is that as we got closer to the death row people, it seems as if the devil and demons take my house to school. Like, there is so many internal problems that are just coming up out of nowhere that seem to have no place to go and just seem to fester. And it seems like the closer that we get to talking to these brothers and sisters in chains, the harder our lives have become locally. And I can only put that possibly to the reasoning that the devil thought he had all these guys in prison. He thought he had every single one of these guys on death row. They were all his. They were his people. And now all of a sudden we have people in there that are looking to our Creator, looking to his ways. And there's other guys. There's other people, guys, that aren't on death row. People that are far less wild than the guys on death row. But I will tell you, every single one of these guys is absolutely very responsive. Every one of these guys just wants a friend to talk to. And when you bring love into a conversation, when we show these people who have seen no love from people for decades, and we come and we give them some love and we're just willing to talk with them, lives will be changed. And so I ask everybody out there, if you guys will keep the prison ministry in your prayers, you'll keep our family in your prayers, that our family doesn't end up getting smoted from the inside out as we are trying to set up this, what I hope to be a lifetime ministry that is beyond my life of helping these brothers and sisters in chains, because there's absolute fruit to be had. There's absolute expedition of fishing for men that is being very, very successful. And we get thank you note after thank you note after thank you note from all of these convicts that are all hanging out. Now they have a 3,153 page book of complete truth with the restored names. And these people are all giddy. They're all excited. They all really love it. And so I would like to encourage anybody that is out there, if you guys need a little hobby to do, and it is an amazing hobby, if you will just be faithful to one or two guys, you can reply to one or two guys every single week. We could set you up with it. We can show you how to do it. We can even fund it, because it costs 88 cents for every email that we ship into these brothers. It costs 44 cents to get it in, and 44 cents if they're indigent to get one back. And so, guys, anyone that's out there, please email me. I believe it would be something that would definitely help the body, help us to minister to those who are completely broken, and to those who don't want anything to do with the prisons, or the guys that have done enormous crimes like this. Guys, please remember what Messiah said. When people were going off on him and going, oh, you're hanging around those who look bad and smell bad and they're all a bunch of sinners, you know that makes you look bad, Messiah. And Messiah very clearly tells us he doesn't need to go among those who are well. We need to go among those who are spiritually sick. And if you're looking for spiritually sick, the people in the incarcerated prison system are those people, and they are very much they're very much open for the kingdom work. Okay, with that, Mr. Cole, can you give hi to all of our friends who's out there?
And then I have something to say after that.
Okay, say it.
So, all right, first, let me get up to the top. Hold on. Sorry, my fingers aren't working.
Mystico's going slow. Don't
No,
worry,
it
everyone.
keeps jumping back down to the bottom.
Because YouTube rocks.
Okay.
They have such good technology.
Candy and Ruby,
Hi.
Andy and Elizabeth,
Hi, lady.
Callan and Jeremy. And Callan has a sore throat, so we need to pray for Callan.
Hope it gets better, little buddy.
Irma, and I'm sure Jody's with her. Let's see. We got Obi Lions, we got Chris, we got Jeannie Not of This World, Scott. I'm scrolling. Joanna, The Grand, David Wagner, Becca. That's a new name, so welcome. Elizabeth, Armando's mom. We haven't heard from him for a while, so hopefully he's doing well. And Sister Barb. I think I got everybody. If I missed anybody, I am very, very sorry.
All right, so shouts out to you now. Shouts out to you later. Much love to you. What else did you have in there, Mr. Cole?
So, Obi Lions, Chris says, I've been considering inquiring about writing to the prisoners, but don't want to do something I can't keep up. So we'll think more to get in touch if I think it's right. And that's it. It is a every day or an every...
So
writing to
let
these
me
people.
tell you guys how this is for me, because I have so many prisoners that we do. I'm to the point where I have to do this every single day, or it takes like more than 5 or 6 hours a day for me. That's because whenever I get caught up on emails, I go into my death row Excel spreadsheet and I go find the next 5 guys, and I will send out a little phishing email that I always send out that actually people really come back really, really great with it. Very short email. But here's the thing about Yah Scriptures Prison Ministry. This is not something that would take an enormous amount of time. If you think that you have a time requirement or a time restraint, then let's set you up with 2 brothers, right? 2 brothers, and how this actually works is right out of the gate, everybody, you start talking, and the first 2 or 3 emails are loaded. Like, these guys will talk your head off, and they will write up all sorts of stuff. They will ask you a zillion questions. I always ask them a zillion questions. I always try to give them something interesting. It's just not a one-way street. But if you're only looking to support one prisoner, that's only going to be maybe 1 or 2 emails a week. What will happen is you will see an email come into your regular email, and it will tell you you have a new message from a prisoner. Now, it's not time constraint, right? You don't have to jump on this right away, but you know you have an email, so in the next day or so, you would want to get back with them. Then you would fire up this program called Escrituras, which is the prison inmate thing, and you would you can write back to them. And what I found is that after a little bit, some of these guys, it quiets down, like quite a bit. What we're trying to do, what my hopes and dreams are, is to establish a line of communication with them, get them the laws, statutes, and commandments, get them a scriptures, and we've had nearly 100% success on the Texas prison system. So we can send them scriptures. So if we're able to hook one of our brothers and sisters in chains, and we can get them to say they want a scriptures, then we send them a scriptures. It usually gets to them in 3 or 4 days. And then I talk to them and say, hey, let's start on page 1 and let's work together. These guys have 24 hours a day to read. Like, literally, these guys have more time to read than any of us put together. And so this is something that it's not something, if you're just looking to take on 1 or 2 prisoners, it's not going to take a lot of time. It will not take a ton of effort, and it is something that is absolutely a relationship building thing that I think people will give you high fives in the kingdom to come. I think these people who are killers will come, and after they have repented, and you will see them in the kingdom to come, and these people will thank you for fishing, because without a chance, without people doing this, these guys have no chance. All they have is they have these Christian groups inside of the prisons, the faith-based Christian groups where everybody's saved, and the Torah means absolutely nothing. Okay.
Sister Barb wants to know, are they allowed in prison to watch the live stream as a religious out?
No, they are not allowed. Unless we are completely indoctrinated, as far as we have to be like a established Christian community to ever get access into their tablets and into their stuff. They have a religious stream that they get, and some of them get some things, a lot of them don't. So no, they cannot listen to the stream.
They
But
can get some DVDs in some places.
yeah, some prisons allow DVDs, and some, when you ship the DVDs, some you have to have like an actual DVD. Like you have to have it printed off and it looks like a DVD and send it in. You can't just take like a 5-cent blank DVD and send it in. So we've been working with a lot of prisons over that throughout the years and shipping DVDs in as well. But it's not easy to get them into the stream. And so what we found is that a couple of the what we call leaders inside of the prison, as they start getting scriptures, as we start mentoring them, they start mentoring tons and tons of other guys. One particular guy, his name is Noe, and he is in Texas, and I've been writing him for over a year. Everybody that ever writes to me talks to me about Noe and how Noe holds everybody in the cell accountable. And Noe has everybody keeping Torah. Anybody that wants to eat unclean food, all of a sudden you got the guy they nicknamed the driller. He's going to come and he's going to give them scriptures on why they're doing things. So all it really takes, even inside of death row, is one or two people that are understanding, that are keeping it. And this is the power of the kingdom, is that we just enable those who do not have the ability to see, and then they continue on and they build this humongous garden. And that's what we're looking for. Is we're looking for the damaged, we're looking for those who are seeking our Creator, all of that.
You need to talk about Justin too.
Justin Soto. Yeah, absolutely. So let me do one last thing, guys. I don't want to get this completely off on this track, but this week was simply amazing. Justin Soto is this gangbanger who is, when I started writing him about a year ago, this dude is as thugged out as you absolutely get. The way he murdered people, the way he ended up in there. And when I was talking to him, he ended up beating up a dude in prison because the guy looked at him wrong or something. And so it's like one of these kids that didn't have much of a parental guidance. When I talked to him at first, he's like, yeah, I'm a pagan. And he actually said the word pagan. He's like, I have a bunch of different gods. That's how I was raised, blah, blah, blah. So we shipped him into Scriptures like a year ago. And I've been working with him. We sent him in the book of Enoch, sent him in the book of Jasher, sent him in a bunch of stuff. And I've just been talking with him. I talked to his mom. He had me talk to his mom. Every couple of weeks I get with him, and he sent me an email on, I think it was Monday or something of the sort. I think I put it out on YouTube because I was so ecstatic that Justin wrote me. He goes, you know what? I'm all of the creators. He's like, I'm praying. He's like, I've turned myself over to him. And it was something I never, ever thought. This gangbanger, criminal dude who was just, he's really, really a cool dude that I've been talking to. These guys all have issues, right? The one thing most of these people never, ever had was good moral support. Never. And so when we're reaching out, sometimes it's a little too late. But this guy, there was no hope. And now this guy is seeking the kingdom. I was so ecstatic that this dude was doing this. And, now I'm talking to him. I'm like, hey, man, when you get out of the hole, maybe you can stop beating people up. This the kingdom road is not of those beating people up, right? That's not what it's going to be. And so I got a lifetime of talking to these brothers and sisters and working with them. And it's been a blessing. And I'd like to share those blessings with everybody that is out there and anybody that wants to communicate with these guys. I promise you guys, without a shadow of a doubt, your lives will be changed. You'll hear things that you probably don't want to hear. You'll hear depression. You can tell your life's worries. Every time that something happens here in our house, it's crazy, and I write it up in the email. The guys are like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Will you be okay? Are your dogs okay? Right? These people are very, very, very concerned about those who are concerned about them. And it's absolutely amazing. Okay, that's a long time on this, so let us get rolling on what we do every single Shabbat, which is we go over the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator. And these, along with our Messiah, are the greatest things that anyone has ever been given. And guys, as people of Yisrael, as people of Yisrael, as people of our Creator, we have been giving these great commands. So with this is why we read them every single Shabbat, so that they become muscle memory to us, so that when we walk out into this crazy world that's full of demons and devils and evil, that we know what's right and what is wrong. And without the Torah, we do not know what is right or wrong. Commandment number 1, be fruitful.
Commandment number 2, multiply.
Replenish the earth. Subdue it. Have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature.
The earth bearing and every tree is for food.
Man and woman should build their own families.
Master sin.
Everything moving thing that lives shall be food for you. Do not eat the blood.
Walk before me and be perfect.
Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments. Every male shall be circumcised at 8 days old.
Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah.
Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations. Keep the Passover, Pesach.
Keep the feast of unleavened bread, festival of matzah.
There is one Torah for the stranger and one for the Hebrew. Sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah.
There are no mighty ones before Yahuwah.
You shall not make graven images.
Do not bring Yahuwah's name to naught.
Keep the Shabbat.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
So let me go back up to the keep the Shabbat thing, because it seems like everything that I'm doing right now has some sort of leading into this prison ministry that we're doing. And when I send out my fishing expedition email, my very first one that I usually capture, I've captured most of them on the way back. Then we go into I go into general chit chat. And at some point, all this week, as it was getting towards the Shabbat, I go, all right, guys, well, have a good Sabbath day. And just so you know, the Sabbath day is the seventh day. And this is the beginning of commandment keeping, is where we keep the commandment. And I tell them all, you're lucky that you're in there resting, because if you're resting in there, you're actually keeping the commandments of our Creator. And so as we bring people into Torah, one of the very first things that we can bring them into is with the Shabbat. And as people start keeping the day of Shabbat, which is a day that is built for man and not man for the Shabbat, it is one of these things that is, it not only is it one of the greatest days of the entire week, if not the greatest day of the week, it is a commandment that our Creator has given to us to help us be healthy and to help us establish a long life. And those that take this seventh-day Sabbath off, the life is way different. And so as I write back to these guys, the thing about the people in prisons and whatnot is there's nothing immediate, right? We don't have to sell them on the way forward. All we have to do is simply be there for them and talk with them. And all of a sudden, it seems like they become very, very receptive when those who love them have a different message and they listen. And so the Sabbath day is one of these things that is very, very good for all the communications, for all of us, for everything. And it can be used for all sorts of tools. And here we are with the Sabbath being used as a tool to bring people into the kingdom. Okay, honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Do not break wedlock.
Do not steal.
Do not make false accusations against your neighbor.
Do not covet anything of your neighbor's.
Do not make an altar from rock that a tool is touch.
Do not go up the altar by the steps.
If a man steals cattle, he shall restore it 5 times.
Yahuwah's laws for criminals.
Do not lie with beasts.
No sacrifices to other Elohim.
Do not oppress the stranger, fatherless, or widow.
Do not charge your brother interest.
If you borrow your neighbor's raiment, return it to him before sunset.
Do not curse the ruler of your people.
Do not eat what is torn of any beast.
No false report.
Do not follow a multitude of evil.
Do not judge righteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray.
Help the animals of your enemy.
Stay away from rumors and gossipers.
Take no bribes.
Do not oppress a stranger. Love the stranger.
Keep your land rest in the 7th year.
Do not mention any pagan names.
Keep the feast of Yahuwah.
Do not cook your goat in his mother's milk.
Obey the messenger Yahuwah sends before you.
Do not bow down to other Elohim.
Serve Yahuwah.
Make no covenant with other Elohim or outsiders of the land.
Do not make your use of anointing oil on a normal person. Do not make your use of perfume on a normal person.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you are going to do.
Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws.
The women's time of separation.
Obey Yahuwah's hygiene laws.
Keep the Day of Atonement, Yom HaKippurim.
Do not uncover the nakedness of your family.
Do not take your woman's sister for wife.
Do not lie with a woman her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice your children to Moloch.
Do not be a sodomite.
Be holy.
Do not reap the corners of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard.
Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
And pay your workers for the day's wage they are due.
Do not harm the disabled.
Do not endanger your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother.
Rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not diverse your cattle.
Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle linen and wool.
Do not lie with a taken woman.
Do not eat the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard or the corners of your head.
Do not cut yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Do not prostitute your daughter.
Do not defile your temple.
Do not consult the medium.
Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures.
Do not walk in the manners of the nation.
Keep the feast of the first fruits, Shavuot, Omer Count, Pentecost.
Keep the feast of trumpets, Yom Torah.
Keep the feast of Sukkot, Shem Atzeret.
If you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill your neighbor's animal, you must give him another.
Repay injury for injury.
Honor the Jubilee year.
Confess your sins to Yahuwah and repay who you have trespassed against.
The law of being a Nazir.
Wear zizi on the 4 corners of your garments.
The laws of whoever touches a corpse.
Follow Yahuwah's law of inheritance.
The law of keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word.
Guard your soul. And I want to talk about this one real quick, because this is one of these commandments that I bring up with the brothers, right? And the probably the worst thing that you would do when you guys are writing these guys is probably go and look up their charges. I try not to look up the charges on these guys. when you talk to prisoners, when you talk to them, the way to actually say it, like, what are you in for or something for? What you actually, the technical way to say it, or what are your charges? Because some people are like, hey, it's only charges. I didn't do any of this stuff. But the ones that are on death row, you do not make it to death row unless you have done some incredibly crazy stuff. And the thing about death row that I have found is there's a lot of them that are just straight up, they did it. It is what it is. And then we'll have, like, one guy I talked to yesterday, he's been in there for like 25 years. He was a pastor, he was a preacher. And he says, I'm completely innocent, this is that. And I don't really care. I tell these guys, I say, hey, look, I don't care what your charges are, because it doesn't matter. The past is the past, and we can dwell on the past, but it's not going to set us up for the future. We absolutely have to be in repentance. We absolutely have to repent. And when you've taken a person's life, that is like what kind of crime is that? That's just crazy, right? There's going to be a day of accounting for all of this. But we still have the ability to guard our soul, right? I've read scriptures, 3,153 pages of them, and I've never found anything other than blasphemy against the Ruach HaKodesh that is an instant death sentence, right? We have people that have been saved that are murderers. We have all of these scriptures before us that talk about this, and that these people are not lost. They may seem lost. Community may have given up on them. They may have given up on them. But the creator of the universe designed every single one of us and you, and this is what I tell all of us, in a very special form. He gave you a set number of hair, set number of freckles, set number of moles if you have them. Everything is set, right? He has designed. There is an intelligent creator based upon all of this, and he gave us something that we have 120 years to figure out how we can get to the kingdom path. And so that's what I tell these guys. I said, you're in darkness right now. You know you're in darkness. It's 20, these guys are in solitary confinement, most of them 24 hours a day. The guys on death row get out of solitary sometimes one time a week and sometimes 2 times a week for 1 hour. And I always ask these guys, do you have a window in your room? Because I'm always curious to know. Most of in prisons, if you have a window, it's a little like 4 by 6. It's a really small window. But you will do anything in prison to get a glimpse of the sunshine. You will get any glimpse of outside. And so I asked these guys, I'm like, what do you got? A couple guys are like, I have a little tiny window, and like for about 45 minutes a day at sunset, I can almost see the sun. And so, guys, these people are in a state of complete despair. And so when we come in with some sort of light, some sort of way, a way forward, and I truly believe that every single one of these hardened criminals, these guys that have done just the most enormous, crazy stuff, have a shot. I think all of us do have a shot. And it's not up to us to judge them and say, oh, this guy's so evil. We shouldn't ship him a Bible. We shouldn't do any of this, right? These guys are in the darkness, and all of us can guard our souls, which is a commandment. And every time that we feel like we're not guarding our soul, we have to get back to that, because we will all die. And the only thing we'll walk away from this place with is our souls. And so we have to be very, very careful about all of this. Continuing on, learn to fear Yahuwah.
You shall love Yahuwah with all your heart.
Bind the laws upon your hand and the frontlets between your eyes.
Write the laws on your doorposts.
Do not tempt Yahuwah.
Do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah.
Circumcise your heart.
Cleave to Yahuwah.
Swear by his name.
Destroy graven images.
Do not make an idol of Yahuwah as the pagans do to their Elohim.
Rejoice in all Yahuwah's blessed you with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes.
Do not hearken the words of false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
You shall not eat any abominable thing.
You shall give to a stranger clean food that dies of itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Give tithe of your increase of seed year by year.
The law is the end of the 7-year release.
Do not borrow from the nations.
Do not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from the poor.
Guard month 1 of Yahuwah's calendar.
3 times a year all males shall appear before Yahuwah.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not plant Asherah poles near the altar.
There must be 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken unto the prophet Yahuwah has chosen.
Prophetess of Deuteronomy.
Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
How to deal with a false witness among Torah keepers.
The first child is to get all portions.
If your brother's calendar clothes are lost, and you find them, you must return them.
A woman should not wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest, the mother, and the babies or eggs, take the babies, but not the mother.
If you build a new house with a flat roof that will be lived on, you must put railing around it.
Do not be a prostitute.
Do not use dirty money.
The law of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for a pledge.
If you lend your brother to go to his house to get your payment, he must bring it to you. Return his clothing before sunset if that was his pledge.
Do not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not go back to the forgotten sheep in the field, be it for a stranger, fatherless, and widow.
Do not mold your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you shall take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
At the end of 7 years, you are to read the Torah at the Feast of Sukkot, Feast of Tabernacles.
Okay, so here we are, guys. What does Kitty say? What dates are we keeping this?
Yeah, she says, where are you guys keeping Sukkot and what are your dates?
Oh yeah, well we keep Sukkot in the middle of a tropical jungle in the middle of Panama. You guys can come out if you'd like, as long as you're cool. 9 pit bulls, they would love to have you. I don't think they'll bite,
They like
but
sleeping in the tents.
yeah, they like sleeping in the tents too, as well as ripping the side of the tents out. And so yeah, that's we don't, unfortunately we don't have any of that. So maybe you guys in the States who keep Sukkot can put together where you guys are keeping it at and whatnot. Okay, let's go into this real quick, guys. Will somebody please take care? Sorry, guys. Again, we have 9 pit bulls. Yeah.
Y'all got too many wild animals.
Hey, well, don't worry. Hey, well, what about the kids? Are those wild animals we're talking about? Are we talking about the dog? I think we're talking about the dog.
No,
Sorry,
she's
guys.
talking about the frogs and the lizards and the snakes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The tarantulas, all that.
Yeah, speaking of which, I was going to tell my family it's time to get a lizard that we have in the kitchen out because he's grown too big. We've had him since a baby, but now he's getting really large. So there are wild animals down here. Okay, here we are. Guys, Leviticus 12. Jaden, give me a breakdown of where we're at. Scoot in here so everyone can hear you, please. Eli, you're going to have to probably stand up and take care of Leo and the dogs. And you're getting your dog
I'm
wild.
trying to stop her.
Okay, well, let's help out, please.
Leo, stop.
All right, guys. I'm sorry, we're just policing the dogs. 1 second. Okay, Jaden, give me the lowdown.
So
Leviticus.
Moses got his people out of Egypt. They made it to the mountain. They've been wandering the desert. They've been through wars and fighting the Gentiles, wiping off the nations of the land they were going to possess soon, and they are now getting laws. Moses went up the mountain. He got laws. He was up there 40 days. We got what we know as the 10 Commandments. He went down, and the people were dancing around a golden calf that Aaron had built. They killed 3,000 people, and then Moses went back up, had to go and get new stones since he broke the last stones out of his anger. And Yah wrote the 10 Commandments again. Then he learned all these new laws, and he learned all of these laws for the Levites. And now we are in Leviticus, where it's very much for the Levites to the sacrifice, how to do it, and we are learning all the laws of the Levites.
Okay, and this is a very short chapter, is it?
Yeah, it's only 8 verses.
8 verses. Wow, this is really weird. Okay, all right. So for those of us who were, a quick recap on this, this is these are the people that are supposed to be the law-keeping people of our Creator, right? These are our forefathers and foremothers, and as they are cruising through these lands, the reason that the first 5 books of Scriptures are very, 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 very important to us is because it gives us an idea of what the heart, mind, and soul of our Creator is like, and His wishes, and the ways that He wishes we would conduct ourselves, His ways that we should act as a people, how He wants us to treat each other, how He wants us to treat Him, how He wants us to treat outsiders, right? Everything that we need for an understanding of how we should be living successfully for the walk into the kingdom is found in the Torah. And so when we reject the Torah, when we say, oh, that's the old school things, we don't care about any of that, well, there's a tremendous amount of things like a Torah command of not to harm the disabled, right? When you don't have laws, that makes you a very dangerous person. When you don't have morals, that makes you a very dangerous person. And I've said it before, and I will say it, I'm not saying it as a slam, but those who are in the religion of Christianity are extremely dangerous people. And a lot of people will go, oh, that is not true, that is a lie, because Christians have the persona of being these holy rollers that have the way to salvation figured out. But if you conduct your life without the laws of our Creator that He gave to us as a blessing for us, and also a curse if we don't keep them, then this is all on us, right? This is very, very important. Okay, continuing on. Let's begin. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Yisrael, saying, when a woman has conceived and has given birth to a male child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, as in the days of her monthly separation. She is unclean. And on the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin is circumcised. Okay, so here's our commandment on circumcision on the 8th day, and also the understanding of blood, and when a woman is clean and unclean, and why she is dirty during these times and these things. 4, And she remains in the blood of her cleansing 33 days. She does not touch whatever is Kodesh, and she does not come into the Mikdash until the days of her cleansing are completed. Important steps, right? These are things that when we were back in the days, and we had these temples and we had this kind of thing, but it's still the same thing. We would still be unclean, but I don't know so much as we would have the ceremony to cleanse us these days. 5, but if she gives birth to a female child, then she shall be unclean for 2 weeks, as in her monthly separation, and she remains in the blood of her cleansing for 66 days. So there's absolutely a difference between a male child and a female child in the way a woman becomes clean in this ceremony. 6, and when the days of her cleansing are completed for a son or for a daughter, she brings to the Kohen a lamb a year old and sorry guys, where am I here? 6. And a year old as a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove as a sin offering to the door of the tent of appointment. And he shall bring it before Yahuwah and make atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the flow of her blood. This is the Torah for who has given birth to a male or female. And if she is not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one as a burnt offering and the other as a sin offering. And the Kohen shall make atonement for her, and she shall be clean. Okay, so here we are, guys. This is a very, very short chapter, but a very important chapter nonetheless, because this gives us an idea of what our Creator wants to establish with us and how we are supposed to walk with Him. And being clean and dirty is a big thing to Him, especially when we're talking about going back into the temple, going back into the holy place. Okay, now, anyone in chat? We got anything in chat?
Joanna just said she was having her mom listen when we were reading the laws. And she said, I don't do that. And I said, Mom, we've all done it. And she said, that's really old.
Yeah, so this is something funny because, last week, Jaden was with the old couple. So we have, they're not here this week, so we can actually talk about it. And I was trying to go really, really light last week. Like, I knew that they would probably be listening, and I went kind of as normal as I did. So we have these 2 90-year-olds that are combined 180 years of experience in this land that are die-hard Christians. These guys, it is a Jesus saved by grace. Jesus has you. You can do whatever you want. Jesus is going to drive this magical school bus to this rapture, and we're all going to be hanging out on a cloud.
And they don't have judgment.
Yeah, and there's no judgment, right? And somehow the Christian religion has invented a brand new religion that they think is in Scriptures. And you explain to them, this doesn't say this in Scriptures, and they get vehement. So this 90-year-old man, he wrote down this big long list of stuff, and afterwards he went off on Jaden, right? And so Jaden messaged me. He goes, Dad, he just wrote down all these things. He doesn't want to keep the laws. The food is clean. What do you remember the list? What's the list say? Mom, where's the list?
You need to admit you were a Jew.
Yeah. So Jason the Jew, that was the very last thing. And what's funny is that he was bold when he was talking to Jaden, right? So I come over the next day, and he goes, I have some notes I'd like to discuss with you. I'm like, all right, Dr. Fred, no problem. And so he starts like mumbling things, like all his strength and courage that he had at mumbling stuff to Jaden, it didn't go on. And he got down to the part where Jason the Jew, and he just goes, brr, brr, Jew. Like, what, Dr. Fred? He wouldn't go through it, right? And so these folks are stuck in this Christianity, and they had over 2 weeks of complete indoctrination with my children, who are completely indoctrinated in this, and their goal was to make sure Dr. Fred and Marlene knew exactly what Scripture said. And so they did, and last week they listened in, and it was completely rejected. Very, very, very much rejected. In fact, the old lady, she was sitting there just shaking her head the whole time like somebody had told her somebody had died. She was very, very unhappy with the entire thing. So when you give people, especially Christians, the message, don't expect great results right out of the gate. In fact, you'll probably have better luck on death row than you will talking to Christians, which is probably really sad to talk about this, right? And so here we are. The law is referred many times in the New Testament. And the thing about the New Testament, when they were writing the New Testament, they didn't have a New Testament. Nobody was writing on new doctrines. They were writing on the old doctrine. Paul, Rabbi Shaul, was writing all about the Old Testament and his stuff. And all of these people have completely, they've made Paul their God. And when you say that to the Christians, that really makes them even more angry. And so it's really, really hard. Okay, what do you got?
First, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to Mama CA. She just joined in. But bit.
No need to attack Christianity to make Judaism valid. So here,
He says you guys saying stuff that's not in the New Testament.
what do you mean saying something? If you can give me some verses, I'd appreciate it. So guys, my friend, Judaism, let me give you a quick education. Judaism includes hundreds of other books that are outside of scriptures. When you have Deuteronomy 6:4 that says do not add to or do not take away, or what is it? What is our don't take away, add to it? It's not Deuteronomy 6:4.
I think it's 4-2.
4:2. I think it's 4:2. We are told not to add to and we're not to take away from the scriptures. Now, number one, Christianity is a made up religion. There's no such religion of Christianity in the Bible. You don't have any place in the Bible that you raise your hand and you ask Jesus into your heart. There's no place in scriptures anywhere that we are told to pray to Jesus. There's nowhere in scriptures that we are told to go to a first day church on the day of stuff. What do you got? What's going on?
Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. So here we are. This will be a fun one. So we have two of the greatest commandments, right? You have the commandment to love your God, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul. My friend, you are rejecting the creator of the universe because you reject his words. Now, Matthew 7, here, I'm going to go back a couple before we even get this. Let me tell you, my friend, what happens to the lawless people. This is what happens to lawless people. Verse 21, Matthew 7:21. Not everyone who says to me, Adonai, Adonai, shall enter into the reign of the Shemaim, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the Shemaim. So right here, you have Jesus the Christ, and he says that anybody who is doing the will of the Father. The will of the Father is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Now, not everyone who says to me, Adonai, Adonai, Master, Master, is going to make it into the kingdom to come. But why? Why is this? Many shall say to me in that day, Adonai, Adonai, have we not prophesied in your name and cast out demons in your name and done many mighty works in your name? Guys, this sounds like the Christian religion, right? Everybody's doing repentance. Everybody's talking about Jesus. Everybody's casting out, in the name of Jesus, they're casting out all these demons, right? Well, what does Jesus the Christ say? What does Messiah Yahushua says? This is to everybody out there that is out there. He will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Guys, this is from the son of the creator of the universe who says right here in these verses that if you are lawless, you will be denied access to the kingdom to go. So you either have Jesus the Christ as these words, and you will either, if you are a so-called Christian, right, which is supposed to be a follower of Christ. So if you're a follower of Christ and our Christ says you're going to be sent to hell because you work lawlessness, this is something that we should probably raise our eyebrows at and wonder what we're going to do. Continuing on, let's I don't want to get too far down this road here.
Yahushua is the atonement for our sins. Doesn't mean we can go around sinning or anything like that. It means we would no longer have to do sacrifice of animals. That's why he came to die. He's Messiah.
Well, he came to die so we don't have to do, I would take that. I would say he came to die so that we don't have to do animal sacrifices and that he became our atonement. But he is also, he says that that not one jot or tittle of the Torah will be gone until heaven and earth pass away. So you're telling me, my friend, that the Old Testament doesn't apply to you, and I am showing you that our Messiah right here will tell you to go to hell if you are lawless. All right, let's get into our reading. And you guys in the chat, continue chatting on. I trust you guys have this all under control. Okay, Matthew 12. I need somebody who's going to give me a breakdown of what happened in the previous. Please, Eli, stop this with the dogs. Jaden, please give me a breakdown.
Yep. So we had Messiah. He was born. He moved to Egypt so that he could be. So his parents moved to Egypt so he didn't die and get killed as a child. And about all children 2 years and under got killed by Herod. He moved to Egypt. He came back. He grew up. We learned in the book of Escritura that his father died when he was young. So he grew up as the carpenter's son, and he went around. And then he came back to his hometown and started teaching him, doing miracles. No one believed him. He said a prophet is not appreciated in his own town. So he started going around other places, going to the outskirts of Israel and doing miracles and healing people. people were more accepting of him than people in his own town. Then he started making enemies of the Pharisees and the Sadducees because they didn't like what he taught, and they were going against everything they believed and taught. And he was only teaching straight from the Torah and straight from his Father. And so the people are against him. And so he has been doing all sorts of miracles and healing, and he is doing collecting disciples and teaching people all around the world.
Okay, so here we are, Matthew 12. Let's see what we have to say. And for those who do not know, we do not say Jesus because that is a pagan name, and I'm sure that there's going to be people right there that are rolling their eyes right there. But guys, the name Jesus didn't appear until the year 1611. Prior to the scriptures, they had his name as Iesus. A Hebrew's man's name is not going to be a Greek name; he's going to be a Hebrew name. Yahushua means salvation. It means Yah is with us. And so here we are, and this is the first 3 verses will prove 100% why we are not preaching Judaism. Now let's continue on. At that time, Yahushua went through the grain fields on the Shabbat, and his Talmudim were hungry and began to pluck heads of grain to eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your Talmudim are doing what is on the Sabbath." But he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him?" Okay, let's talk about the first 2 verses on this right here. The Pharisees are the people who are a religious zealoty group that is not even zealots, because what they do is they keep hundreds of other books other than out the scriptures. And so in their Judaism, in this so-called Judaism, one of these things is they have extremely strict rules when it comes to Shabbat. So strict that many Jews will actually hire a goyim. They will hire somebody else that will flip their lights on in their house because they don't want to flip lights on. Now, all of these things go against scriptures, because what we have from a Shabbat day is it's a day of rest. And when you're sitting there hiring other people to, essentially, I mean, what you're doing is if you hired somebody, you're paying them to work on a Shabbat when we're talking about flipping the lights on or off. Now, if we were in Judaism, we would be all over this, and we'd go, "Oh yeah, why is the disciples of our Messiah picking heads of grain throughout the field?" And I grew up on a farm, and for anybody that's never ever taken heads of grain and ripped it off, you can completely, absolutely, when it's ready, just take it and rip it right off. You take the things that we called the beards. There was like little beard hairs in these things. We got rid of the beard hairs, and then you can just eat the grain. You can eat it right out in the field. It's not a lot of work, right? You basically just rip it up in your hands and you just shuffle it around, blow the beard stuff off, and you have grain to eat. So that's what they were coming to do. Now his response to them is this: "But he said to them, have you not read what David did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he went into the house of Elohim and ate the showbread, which was not right for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the Kohanim." Guys, this is one of these big things that when you read all through scriptures, sometimes a Shabbat day is meant to bend to the issues of our day. Sometimes we will have an oxen fall in the ditch. Sometimes somebody will get sick. Sometimes we will have to stay at people's houses to save them on a Shabbat. There's a tremendous amount of things that we have to do. And in the event where David actually went into the temple and ate the showbread that was there, that was something absolutely not right. But we don't know anything about that particular incident, because we just knew from then it was like probably not right. But then we have Messiah that is clearing this up for us, that it was okay, right? That it was something that saved his life. And so that's how the Shabbat, and that's how the rules of our Creator can bend in necessity times for us. And I'm not saying bend the Torah. I'm not saying we are these people that make these choices on when to keep the Torah or not. I'm just saying sometimes things have to bend, or we're not going to make it through the day. Now, continuing on 5. This is what Messiah is saying. "Or did you not read in the Torah that on Shabbat the Kohen and the Mikdash profane the Shabbat and are blameless? But I say to you that in this place there is one greater than the Mikdash." Okay, gentlemen, what does he mean right here that the Kohanim profane the Shabbat?
They were still doing sacrifice. They were still doing all this stuff.
Yeah, the priests were working, man.
The rest of people were not supposed to do it. This was what Yahuwah had said them not to do. That's
Yeah.
why they were blameless.
Right, and so this is the thing. There was a set of people that were set to do the things that we didn't have to do, so that we can rest, and those were the priests back in the day. 7. "And if you had known what this means, I desire compassion and not offering, you would not have condemned the blameless. All right, anyone want to take a stab at this?
It's what Yahuwah had said before in the Old Testament, Kings, and when they were having all the sacrifices, I don't want your sacrifices. This is what he told the prophets. I don't want your sacrifices. I just want you guys to be obedient. I just want you guys to be good people. Your sacrifices mean nothing to me, but I want you to be obedient. I want you to change your ways.
And in this particular verse, it's not about obedience. It's about I desire compassion and not offering. What? Anyone want to take a stab at what this means?
He would rather have people be obedient than he would have people do sacrifices for their sins and because they're not obedient.
Yeah, and you know, compassion. What is compassion?
Caring,
taking care of those.
kindness.
Right, and so there's a tremendous amount of times when we've been told in Torah that we love our neighbor, right? That we have compassion on people that are broken. And when we are walking past those that we should be taking care of, we are breaking Torah, right? And so right here, Messiah is clearly talking that he desires us to follow this path of Torah correctly versus having to accommodate with sacrifices to get it done right. So there's just a tremendous amount that we get from this. 8, for the son of Adam, for the ben of Adam is Adon of the Sabbath. Okay, and this is a Christian. This is one of these Christian conundrums, right? Christians will go, I can have a Sabbath day any day that I want because Jesus is my Sabbath. That is what they will say. They say it's the Lord's day because Messiah was resurrected on a Sunday. And so somehow people think that they're qualified enough to switch the days of worship from a Shabbat, a 7th-day Shabbat, to a 501c3 man-made temple a day on Sunday, right? And so it is very, very important that we understand that the Father and the Son are a dueling combo, and they both have to work on a Shabbat. They've clearly said that. Messiah has clearly said that. And that's the role of leadership. That's the leaders that we want that are willing to save us on days when we are needing to be saved. Because when they have to work on Shabbat, it's usually their people that are getting into trouble. So that's why the prayer chain is very, very important. That's why praying and keeping a direct line of communication to our Creator is very, very important. Because some of us have to be saved on a Shabbat. That's just the way it is. Continuing on, 10. And see, there was a man having a withered hand. And they asked him, saying, is it right to heal on the Shabbat, so as to accuse him? And he said to them, what man is there among you who has one sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Shabbat, shall not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more worth is a man that is right to do good on the Shabbat? Guys, these are very, very, very important things. These are verses that have guided us and my family throughout life, because there have been things on a Shabbat that we would not have done if we didn't know that it was doing more good than wrong, right? And that is one of these things that when we have to take care of, we have to work on a Shabbat, because there's others that do not care about the Shabbat, but they're so old, they're falling over and dying, that if we weren't there on a Shabbat working, that they would have fallen over and dying, right? This is where the Torah and where our Creator understands human issues. He understands the ways forward. And when the Scriptures very, very clearly talks about the worth and the value of a human being in the eyes of our Creator. We heard about it with birds, and we heard about it with how the birds are fed and how they're happy out there. But how much more worth is a man than a sheep? And when we understand that our Creator has designed things that He thinks is very, very valuable, then we need to support that understanding and be valuable to Him. If we're just simply these people that are dwelling, that are not doing the work of the kingdom, then we're not doing what we need to do. Continuing on, 13. Then he said to the man, stretch out your hand. And he stretched it out, and it was restored, as healthy as the others. But the Pharisees went out and took counsel against him, so as to destroy him. Guys, this is where Judaism came in to plague all of these people, because they had all of these very stringent rules that are outside of Torah. And so Messiah heals a man's hand on a Shabbat, and this really upsets these people. And it upsets them because they believed that they were the religious entities of the day, that what they said was what it was, and they didn't realize that prophecy had been fulfilled, and that the Messiah, the one who had been talked about all through Scriptures, was here right in front of their face and was showing them things that they should have been impressed with, things that they would have learned more understanding for. But instead, these guys decide they're going to kill him, and that's their answer to all of this. Let's kill this guy. Okay, continue on. 15. But Yahushua, knowing it, withdrew from there, and large crowds followed him, and he healed them all, and warned them not to make him known, in order that what was spoken by Yeshayahu, Isaiah the Nabi, might be filled, saying, See, my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved in whom my being delights. I shall put my ruach upon him, and he shall declare right ruling to the nations. Guys, this is all prophecy, right? This is all the old school prophecy that is becoming fulfilled in this Basora, in this good news that we have right here. That this is just prophecy being taken place, and for those who were unable to see it, it is. So now we got. Is this the same dude?
No, it's somebody else.
Oh,
CCV.
CSCV.
Jesus
Okay.
is God.
Jesus is God. Guys, I'll let you guys. Well, let's guys in the chat room. I think you can. The Torah proves Jesus is God. Actually, the Torah proves Jesus isn't God unless you can send me a scripture that says that. In fact, the entire set of scriptures, it goes against that. Like the entire Trinity, if you didn't know, is a pagan thing. It came from Nimrod, Semiramis. It came from Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. All of that entire thing. In fact, there have been tons and tons of things where they have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and it's all the same one. The problem is, in this, is that you have to accept that your Messiah, Jesus the Christ, is a filthy liar if he is God. Because in the book of 1 John and the rest of scriptures, all of it, Messiah very clearly says he is not God. And everybody will go, oh, let's go back to Isaiah. Let's look at Emmanuel, right? Well, let's look at the book of Isaiah from a proper translation, from a Septuagint, and that it's not in there. And so when there's a huge problem, number one is when you think the creator of the universe is the Son, and you will have people that are praying to him, and that goes against scriptures. Messiah, Yahushua, Jesus the Christ, very clearly says, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That's how we pray, right? We've been told over and over and over. And so you either have to accept that your Messiah is a liar and that your doctrine is what you want to believe, or you have to believe scriptures. And so this is one of these things, guys.
You're a liar and a false prophet.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Guys in the chat room, I'm going to continue on. You guys can have at it. Here we are. Okay, so we're going into Matthew 12:18. And this is what you're seeing in the chat is exactly what this is the Christian conundrum.
Jesus never said he was God. Never. Show us one verse.
One verse, man. If you're in here in the chat, amongst others, put some scriptures in here.
Yeah, exactly. Rebuke them.
Yeah, rebuke them. Yeah, so let's see if he wants to just argue or not. If not, let's set him outside the assembly. One verse coming. Okay, let's see his one verse coming. Let's see what we have here. All right, let's continue on. We'll wait for our brother here to figure this out. Matthew 12:18. See my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved in whom my being delights. I shall put my ruach upon him, and he shall declare right ruling to all nations. We're talking about Messiah Yahushua. He shall not strive, nor cry out, nor shall anyone hear his voice in the streets. A crushed reed he shall not break, and smoking flax he shall not quench, till he brings forth right ruling forever. And the nations shall trust in his name. Oh, so this is the problem with being in the Christian religion, guys, is that you only have one single verse. Guys, before creation ever was created, our Messiah was with his Father. Our Messiah and his dad hung out thousands of years, maybe even more, before the world was ever created. Before light and dark were ever separated, they hung out. So when you know the Son, who is the representative of the Father, you will absolutely know who the Father is. Okay, there's not one verse. The whole Bible shows Jesus is God. Yeah, you're right. There's not one verse. The whole Bible shows. No, there is no verse that says Jesus is God. You are absolutely correct. Yeah. So anyway, let's continue on. I don't want to disrupt this. Set him outside the
the assembly. He's distracting.
Okay, continuing on to those who love our Creator. Let's roll on. Jesus is the Father. Jesus is the Son. Jesus the Holy Spirit. All right, outside the congregation. Is he gone?
I don't know.
Here, delete the last one.
I'm trying.
Much love to you, CNC, my friend.
Go.
All right, there we go. There we go. All right, there we go. Guys, the Father is not the Son is not the Father. It's very, very, very easy to figure this out if you are not indoctrinated. So let's continue. And what it's talking about in 1920, guys, this is all prophecy being revealed, right? This is all what they were talking about in prophecy. A crushed reed he shall not break, a smoking flax he shall not quench, till he brings forth right ruling. And the nation shall trust in his name. Then they brought to him one who was demon possessed, blind and dumb, and he healed them, so that the blind and dumb man both spoke and saw. Okay, let's talk a little bit about demons, guys. Let's talk about this extracurricular spiritual world that seems to attack a tremendous amount of people. Now, one thing that I can tell you from hanging out with all of the people in prison and hanging out and watching a lot of interviews, a lot of investigative interviews, is that a lot of people say that they are demon possessed, that they are, that whatever happened to them right before they went and did their crazy crime, they have no idea. They were basically looking at the world from outside of their eyes, and they were not the ones who were doing it. And so there is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, unclean spirits and demons and things that are here to attack us. And a lot of people don't understand that the testing that we get is testing from the Shamayim. Like our Creator and His Son are not going to allow people who are wishy-washy into the kingdom to come. We are here to be tested. We are here to be tempted. We are here to try to make it through all of this. And when we are dealing with unclean spirits, number one, we have to be understanding that these things can get in us and they can take us. They can take our kids. They can take our wives. They can take any one of us, right? And so we have to be those people in the kingdom who understand the Torah, who understand the Basora, who understand the power of the spiritual realm, so that we're able to defend ourselves against these kind of things. So continuing on, let's say in chat.
Sister Rob says they literally take over their minds.
It does,
And they're
and
not protected with Yah's name upon them.
and I have seen enough of these guys in solitary confinement, in death row, and talked to enough of them that there's some sort of things that happens in these people and allow themselves to do the kind of crazy stuff they do. I do not know, but whatever happens, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that there are unclean spirits that are etched to take us at all times, and without the power of the kingdom to come, without the power of our Creator, without the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, we're not going to be able to defend ourselves against this. Okay, 23. And all the crowds were amazed and said, "Is this the son of David? Is this the Ben of David?" But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "This one does not cast out demons except by Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons." And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said to them, "Every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then does this reign stand? And if I, by Beelzebul, cast out demons, by whom do your sons cast them out? Because of this, they shall be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the Ruach of Elohim, then the reign of Elohim has come upon you." Okay, this is a lot of meat and potatoes inside of this entire thing, and this is, we've all heard this: a house divided cannot stand. The same kind of thing when these people and these Pharisees accused Messiah of casting out spirits by the devil. He clearly says that you're not going to be able to cast out names of these things in the name of Satan. This is the thing: the house of Satan is against the house of Yahuwah. And there's two houses right now, and it is the house of evil and it is the house of good. And if you're taking a middle road, if you are hanging out in the Christian religion and once saved, always saved, raise your hand, you can sin all you want and then just ask Jesus for forgiveness, you're not going to make the kingdom, right? Your house is divided because you don't know what the house rules are. The rules of our house are simple. It starts in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And then we have the Basora, which completely backs up the Torah, right? That's the house rules. If we want to live in the house, if we want to live in the kingdom to come, then the rules that we're going to have is the Torah. That's the only way forward. And people don't get that. The kingdom that's going to be coming when Mount Zion becomes a hosting ground for the city of Elohim, the people that are there are going to be astute Torah keepers. You guys remember the new covenant? Hebrews 8, the new covenant, the Christians will always say, oh, I'm part of the new covenant. I don't care about that old covenant. That old covenant is dead. If that old covenant had been good, then we wouldn't have a need for this new covenant. And then you read Hebrews 8, and it says the covenant is for the house of Israel and the house of Judah. There's no house of Gentile. Nowhere in Hebrews 8 or any scriptures do we hear that there's a house of Gentile that is saved. So all of these people that are waiting this fake rapture, they're waiting for absolutely nothing. Their house is divided because they don't know the rules to the house. And when you read Hebrews 8, which is a futuristic verse, we do not live in the times of Hebrew 8 right now. Because if we did live in the times of Hebrew 8, then everybody that I ever talked to would know the Torah. Everybody would know the law, statutes, and commandments of our Creator. It would be something that we have as a community that is just a part of our community and our life, because that's the world we are in. Hebrews 8 has not happened right now. And so when you are a Christian and you think there's a house of Christian, and when you sit there, and I've had, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of Christians will tell me about the new covenant and how they're part of the new covenant. And then when you read that entire chapter, it has nothing to do with Christians. It has nothing to do with a disobedient group of people that don't care about the house rules. So it's really, really amazing. Yeah, we're talking about, what's Jeremy saying? What verse here? Read Jeremy. Okay, John 16:7. I'm reading from
Verse
the
2, John 14:28.
All right, hold on. I'm going up. John 14:28, and this is from Jeremy. He has a great channel too. So if you guys aren't hanging out with Jeremy has some good stuff. I haven't seen him do a video for a while, so maybe we can get him to do one soon. Okay, John 14:28 says, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I. Guys, John is 100% full of all of these. Like, there's 50 or different statements inside of John and 1 John that very clearly say Messiah is not the Father. Now, going to John 16:7, for if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. Guys, it's very, very, very clear. My one sister said, pray to JC, and I was like, no, that's not his name. You wouldn't pray to Yahushua either if you had his name, right? We don't pray outside of scriptures. There's no place anywhere in scriptures our Messiah said to ever pray to him. We have scriptures that say our Elohim Most High Yahuwah is jealous. What that means is you're not going to have a whole bunch of people that are being praised, and you're not going to have a whole bunch of deities, right? You're going to have one deity, then you have the Son of the Most High, who's our King, who's going to be walking us out of this place and giving us a world. Okay, continuing on. Where are we at? Does anyone know?
I think we're on 29.
I think we're on 29 too. Okay. Continuing on, Messiah says, or how is one able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds a strong man, and then he shall plunder his house? He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters abroad. Because of this I say to you, all sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Ruach shall not be forgiven men. What in the world does this mean? Guys, well, we have the Ruach HaKodesh, and nobody understands what the Ruach HaKodesh is. It is the hand of our Creator. It is every breath that we breathe. It is everything around us. Our Creator is amongst us. It is His Spirit. It is His power. And it is what roams around us. It is what gives power. It is what heals. It is what Messiah Yahushua used, the Ruach HaKodesh, right? So we have a lot of sins in scriptures, but we don't have anything that is over, except for this, that all sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven men, but blasphemy against the Ruach shall not be forgiven men. So that's something we should understand, that, you know, even Messiah talks about that people are hating him and they could still get away with it. But if you are speaking against the arm of our Creator and the hand of our Creator, which is around everything, you better watch out. It's going to be game over. 32. And whoever speaks a word against the son of Adam, the Ben of Adam, it shall be forgiven him. But whoever speaks against the Ruach HaKodesh, it shall not be forgiven him, either in this age or in the age to come. Guys, very, very important. There's a couple of these things that you would probably call a cardinal sin. That's probably some Catholicism word. But this is one of these sins that we don't want to be into, right? When you are speaking against the power of our Creator, when you're speaking against Him, literally Him, you're not going to be forgiven. 33. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree rotten and its fruit rotten. For a tree is known by its fruit. Guys, we are these trees, right? We either have a chance to make fruit good or fruit bad. We can either bear bad fruit or we can bear good fruit. But unless we're bearing good fruit, don't expect to make the kingdom, right? Good fruit is easy to see. Everybody knows what good fruit is. Okay, continuing on. The Messiah says this, brood of adders, how are you able to speak what is good, being wicked? For the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. The good man brings forth what is good from the good treasuries of his heart, and the wicked man brings forth what is wicked from the wicked treasure. And I say to you that for every idle word men speak, they shall give an account of it on the day of judgment. Eli, what do we talk about this? For every idle word man speaks, we have to hear about this on the day of judgment. What do you think we're going to be talking about in love of our brothers? Is it going to be good or bad? Come on.
Probably leaning towards bad.
Leaning towards bad. Do you have non-idle words that are usually good?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Jade, how's this going to work? How do we do this on the day of accounting? Is there any idle words you have amongst your brothers that we're going to have to look to?
Well, it's not just among brothers, all idle words.
It's all idle words,
Everything.
absolutely. But since we're in a very close-knit society right here in the middle of a jungle, I was just curious to what you guys thought. Anyone else?
Yeah, we gotta count for everything we say, whether good or bad.
And it's going to be replayed for us one day, and we have to like hang our heads as we're hearing this stuff. So we need to be careful in everything. And like Jaden said, it's not every idle word against our brothers. It's every idle word men speak. That goes for bad jokes. That goes for evil. That goes for judging people and saying things out loud that we shouldn't say. Right? We're going to be judged for it. We need to be very, very careful that we don't have idle words, because in man's thoughts are how we will be judged, and even in our thoughts we will be judged as well. 37. For by your words you shall be declared righteous, and by your words you shall be declared unrighteous. Whew, that's hardcore, huh? Jade, Eli?
Yeah.
If I had Kate here, I'd throw him under the bus as well. Fortunately, he's out with the dogs. Okay, 38. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, Teacher, we want to see a sign from you. But he answering said to them, A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the Nabi Yonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the stomach of the great fish, so shall the Ben of Adam be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Men of Nineveh shall stand up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And look, a greater than Jonah is here. Okay, anyone? Jade, you want to break that part down? Eli?
Basically, he's saying it's going to be a lot. It's going to be parallel to what happened with Jonah. Jonah got stuck in the well for 3 days. He's going to be stuck in the ground for 3 days. He's saying that he is greater than Jonah, right? Usually people want a sign, but he's like, you had the prophet Jonah. Do what Jonah did. Go in there and repent.
Well, this is the funny thing about these people, is because all he was doing was giving them signs. Like, these people would have heard from everyone else that this guy raised somebody from the dead. This guy would speak about others. There's a tremendous amount of signs, and yet these guys are looking for more signs yet again. Okay, continue on. The sovereigns of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. For she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Shalomah. And look, a greater than Shalomah is here. Now, it's fascinating the Messiah says, a greater than Shalomah is here, because for those of us who have studied scriptures, we know that Shalomah, especially towards the end, I mean, I would say pretty much through his entire reign, there were issues and there were things that were going on. And so that is something that we need to understand, is that Shalomah, it's crazy that he says a greater than Shalomah is here, which obviously there was, but Shalomah had some issues. 43. Now, when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest, and finds none. Then it says, I shall return to my house from which I came, and when it comes, it finds it empty, swept, and decorated. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last of that man is worse than the first. So shall it be with this wicked generation. Now, this is one of these things that is very, very hard to figure out. We're talking about a demon, right? We're talking about a demon that goes out, a man that has a single demon. He's able to get rid of this demon. He gets his life in order. Everything is good. And then 7 other spirits more wicked than the first one, they enter and dwell there. So this man is worse off in this than he ever was. And so now it's talking about, so this will also be with this wicked generation. So it's talking about these people are probably full of demons. They're probably full of wickedness. They're probably full of all of this stuff. And these are understandings for us that the unclean spirits are real. The way of getting rid of them is real. And we have to be very, very careful that we do not pick them up by our lifestyle and the world that we are living. Continue on. 46. And while he was still talking to the crowds, see, his mother and brothers stood outside, seeking to speak with him. And one said to him, see, your mother and your brothers are standing outside, seeking to speak with you. But he answered, he said to the one who spoke to him, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And having stretched out his hand toward the Talmudim, he said, see, my mother and my brother. Before I touch on the last verse right here, for any Christians that are still out there, this is who Messiah is talking about, who is his family. The one thing about understanding who is your family, the people that are your family are the people who are in Torah. They're the people in Scriptures. Now, Messiah Yahushua, if we didn't take anything out of this reading other than this, Messiah Yahushua very clearly tells us who the kingdom family is. Verse 50 says this, for whoever does the desire of my Father who is in the Shamayim is my brother and sister and mother. Messiah very clearly says that whoever is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of his Father is his family. Guys, do you want to be family with the Messiah? Because the Christians that are coming in here that are talking about this once saved, always saved, and all this stuff, it doesn't make any sense. We have a way to salvation that is paved with the Torah. It is paved with a Messiah, and it is paved with us working very hard and being very diligent. Nothing of this Torah walk is going to be easy. It is not going to be a free coupon. There is no easy, sneaky way in. The only way in is if we are obedient to the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator and have the faith of our Messiah, Messiah Yahushua, Jesus the Christ. That's what Revelation 14 says. So guys, with that, I think that's it. I think we have done all we can do for the day. Much love to everybody out there. I'm just reading the chat. Let us go. So, all right, Jade, will you please bless our brothers and sisters?
Yes. Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I myself shall barak them.
All right, much love, fam.
Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down.
All right, brothers and sisters, we love you tremendously. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May his light forever shine on you. May his grace forever encounter your life. May the Torah forever flood your life and flood your existence and your family's existence. And may we all meet back next Shabbat. Much love to all of you. We love you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.